Hey, what's going on, guys? So I finally got the stance dialed in, and took a lot of effort actually to fix all the rubbing because I added 10mm spacers all around. And the reason is because I wanted like a more aggressive stance, kind of similar to my WRX. And the WRX wheels are 10.5 plus 22 offset, and these are 10 by plus 44 offset. And the stance was a little bit too conservative for my liking, especially when I lowered the car and it gained natural camber just from the lowering. So most of the work that I had to do was in the rear, and it's just like the design of the car has these, trim bits that you can actually take off, and then behind it is like this metal piece that is basically where the wheel ends up rubbing mostly. I ended up just cutting off the whole sections and actually trimming the plastic trim bits as well. And it came out really clean, and then I sealed it with silicone. So for the front fenders, I actually just ended up cutting these tabs that hold the fender liners in place, and just kind of sanded it down smoothly, and that was it. I didn't pull the fenders, I didn't roll them. There's not a whole lot to roll anyway. You can't roll these because they're just like nothing, no meat to it. So far, the front doesn't even rub, like even on like harder or more harsh bumps on the road. The rear rubs just a little bit on like driveways when the wheels go, when one of the wheels goes really high up. But other than that, it's perfect, like it doesn't rub on bumps and just regular driving, so I'm fine with that. And the most of the rubbing is in that area that I actually ended up trimming, and yeah, it's just I don't think you can actually fix it fully because the design of the fender, it actually sort of tapers inwards. And the only way to really fix it is to pull that area, but as you start pulling it, it ends up kind of getting this kink on the fender edge because it's just how it is. So I ended up also changing the lug nuts to Project Kicks. These fit the wheels much better, and I actually ended up adding these ARP studs. They're a little bit longer than stock, so you actually need those in order to run spacers. I like how it looks with like the gold ring inside and the lug nuts and the studs. It's a pretty cool look. The stance is perfect now, and it drives really well. And I haven't tested the grip on them because I haven't really driven the car that hard, and still breaking it in. So I got these tires specifically for the look. These are Advan Apex Yokohama. Didn't get any discounts or anything like that. So if you're wondering what I paid for these plus tires, so the wheels were, I think like 39 something hundred, and the tires were, I think it was like 850 or something for the tires. The only thing missing is some big brakes, which I do plan on getting at some point in the future. Most likely get the same exact brakes as I have on my WRX, which is made by Prodigy Works. I like them a lot. So as far as my opinion on these wheels, they're really nice. I mean, to be honest, like I just got them, I kind of always went for replica wheels before, and I just got these authentic Rays just because, I just wanted something nice, because I used to buy authentic wheels back in the day. And I've had like work wheels, HRE, a couple sets of Rays. It was cool and all, but it all comes down to like the sizing and the style of the wheel and the finish. It's not so much that it's authentic or replica. So as far as the suspension, I went with Fortune Auto 500 7th gen. The reason I went for them is mainly because they come with front radial bearings, so that prevents squeaking on the spring when you turn the wheel. It allows the spring to rotate freely on the hat, and if you don't have radial bearings, the spring actually ends up like screeching or like rubbing against the top hat as you turn the wheels. And the spring rates I went with are 6K and 7K, and that's probably the softest they offer. And super nice ride. I mean, it's sporty, but it's compliant, smooth. I actually ended up getting the same coilovers for my WRX. I found a used set from somebody for a good deal. And with that one, I went with the 8K springs because that's what the guy was selling. So, and the ride has become a little bit better in the WRX as well. I can't say it's too much better. I mean, that much better, but it's like about 10% better, smoother, and kind of softer. So whether or not this amount of work is worth, the hassle, that's up to you. I really like the stance. I really like when the wheels are poking out a little bit. So as long as they're wide wheels, spaced out a little bit, that's okay. Because I'm not a fan of like when they take a skinny wheel and just space it out by like 20 millimeters or something, like a stock wheel. I mean, it looks good from like some angles, but then you see the back of the car and is just too weak looking, you know, like there's no aggressive feel to it, if that makes sense. And these are safe spacers. Now what's with this? So spacers are safe to run as long as they're hub centric, which these are. So what that basically means is they sit hub centric to your hub, and then when you put your hub centric ring on top of it, your wheel sits also centered to the spacer and to the hub. So everything's centered, and you're not just relying on lug nuts to center your wheel. Another thing is you also always want to make sure that you tighten your wheels in the air. Never tighten them on the ground. Otherwise, all that weight of the car, if you put the car down, all that weight of the car is pressing it, you know, from the bottom up. So you're definitely going to have a slight offset. You know, not going to be totally centered. Well, this kind of sums it up for the stance, and definitely going to make more videos in the future because this car is exciting, and I've been doing a lot of stuff, you know, behind the scenes that I haven't really been showing too much, except on my Instagram. You can see all my like little projects that I'm working on. Not gonna touch the engine because it's perfect. Like, I don't see anything that can make this engine better. You know, I don't really speed much. I just drive kind of mellow nowadays. So this car is like super perfect as far as like the tuning, the engine, you know, the transmission. Like, I wouldn't change a single thing. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and this pretty much sums it up for this one, and hope to make more videos in the future. I got a new exhaust that just came in, so I'm gonna make a video on that, so stay tuned. So I'll see you in the next one.